So when you think about it, what this space was, which was the Nordstrom, and how sort of, I don't know, I guess depressing might be the word when Nordstrom left downtown, that then now what the space has become, which I think it's great now to have the Indy Star. Obviously they were downtown before, but they have a true downtown presence right here, and they have this community room. We're obviously grateful to be a part of it. So, ladies and gentlemen, this is Gregg Doyel, new sports columnist here for the Indy Star. And as Amy so eloquently said,
I'm a pillar.
Pillar, yeah.
Dang right, I'm a pillar.
I remember
What's a pillar?
reading Twitter and seeing the announcement that Gregg Doyel was coming. And I for those that I interact on Twitter, I do talk a lot about sports on Twitter, very passionate about a few key teams. And have followed Gregg for a long time on there, and was so pleasantly shocked and surprised to see a pillar by Gregg come to the Indy Star, because there's a lot of transition, a little bit of turmoil going on here at the Indy Star, and to me it really said a lot about the direction of where the Indy Star was headed.
Or I'm an idiot.
Or that.
Or I'm an idiot. Who leaves the internet to go to a newspaper? I did. I did.
So let's talk about that then.
Okay.
What was that decision? What was that because you were at CBS Sports before that. You started out, I think, as the college basketball beat writer, went to more of on the columnist side, and then now have come to the Indy Star. So what was that transition and decision?
Well,
like?
A little bit disconcerting when I'm interviewing here and everybody's asking me, I mean, like higher ups, why are you talking to us? A little bit disconcerting. I mean, they didn't come out and say it like that, but that was the undercurrent, is why are you talking to us? Like, people don't leave that for newspapers, they don't. Why you? The newspaper, what Amy was saying is so true, and so I want to be part of like something. At CBS, you're shouting at people, like, can you hear me in Boise today and tomorrow in San Diego? Can you hear me over there? I'm tired of yelling at people. I want to be part of something, and so joining a newspaper made sense to me. But this city really made sense to me. I live in Cincinnati. I come here quite a bit. I'm Pacers games, Colts games. I've been here for the Final Four and Super Bowl, so I see this town at its best, and I see it at other times of year too. And I love this place. I want to move here. I want to live here. I want to write for a community, and it's really been rejuvenating to me. I'd been kind of in a writing slump. And so this is not me saying, and now I'm hitting 450. I have no idea what I'm hitting, but I could tell I was in a writing slump at CBS. I was not excited to wake up every day and yell at people in San Diego, hey, hey, Boston, today it's your turn. Are you reading me in Boston? No, probably not. I know they're reading here. I know you're reading here. You're reading all of us here because you got no other choice. So captive audience, I got one. My job. And forgive the posture, guys. I'm not awkward or shy or uncomfortable. I am sore in the shoulder, and I'm trying to find a way that hurt. Yeah. So anyway, forgive the posture.
So you said you're sort of a fan of the city. What about Indianapolis?
Downtown.
Yeah.
Like people say, have you been to Fisher's yet? No. Carmel yet? No. I will. I'm not living there. Broad Ripple. Have you been there? I might live there. Yeah, I might live in Broad Ripple. But downtown's, this is what I know. Downtown's what I know. It's amazing. I see a lot of downtowns. I traveled a lot of cities. And this is the first actually, Pittsburgh in 1995 was the first downtown that I thought, I can see myself in there. I'm a small town guy. I'm from Oxford, Mississippi, so I don't like big cities. I like Pittsburgh. Anyway, 20 years later, I liked Indy. And loved Indy. I don't even know what it is. Maybe because you can walk everywhere. I know what it is. Part of it is y'all are nice. Midwest are nice people. They're nice people. That's part of why Pittsburgh agreed to me too. Is that New Yorkers are full of crap and bitter. LA people are there and they're just so proud of themselves for living in LA. It makes you want to punch yourself in the mouth. I can't be here. Indianapolis, we're Midwest. We're just nice. And I say we. I've lived in Cincinnati for 10 years. We are nice people. We got nothing else to be proud of, so we're all in it together. There's no water around here. There's no skyscrapers to be proud of. It's just, so we better be nice to each other, and I sense that we are.
So you said you've been here for Final Fours, you've been here for Super Bowls, probably NFL Draft Combine, stuff like that.
Yeah, and I was here.
Has there been an event that's really stuck out for you?
Well, the Super Bowl was magical here. We go. I've been to 8 or 9 of them maybe, and they're always in obviously in an NFL city, in a big city. typically the national media, or if you're an outsider, even if you're like the New York Post and you go to San Diego, you're sort of national there because you're not from San Diego. Typically we poo-poo everywhere we go. Like, this town would be really nice except for the mints on my pillow were mint and not dark, or whatever, but there's always something to dislike about wherever you are. There's nothing to dislike about Indy. We loved it. It wasn't just me. We all loved it. And I think what we love is you can walk everywhere. Now, it helps if you're staying in a hotel that's near everywhere. But if you are, you can, convention center, stadium, if you want to go to a basketball game, basketball season, I mean, everything. The stars right here now, it's beautiful. Yeah, I think that's what's so magical about it is that it's, you're part of, I do love it here, you guys. This isn't fake. So anyway, yeah, I just love downtown. I like what I see.
Good. Well, we're happy to have you.
Well, thank you. Yeah, I'm happy. These are happy tears.
So for you, Twitter has probably been the biggest vehicle, social media vehicle that you've been a part of and used.
Yeah.
And you've been on there a while. What it is about Twitter that you sort of gravitated
Well,
to?
I want to be more personal with folks. I don't have boundaries. I'm not really good at boundaries. So for me, Twitter was perfect because there's no boundaries. It's me and whoever I'm talking to, and you're gonna get the full me right now in 140 characters, and hopefully you'll like it. That's the danger of Twitter, is that if the full me isn't likable, then we're about to find that out. If you're not likable, you're about to find that out. And so anyway, yeah, Twitter's been an amazing thing for me because it allows me to, like I said earlier, I wanted to come here because I want to connect with folks. I'm tired of writing at people. I'm tired of shouting at people. I want to talk with people. Twitter lets you do that. Now, it can get overwhelming because once people realize you talk to them, they I can see it. They sort of, I think they expect maybe an answer every time, and I don't want to hurt anybody's feelings, and I certainly don't want to come across as, oh, you're too big for me now. No, I'm just busy and I can't say hi to everybody and respond to everybody. I'd like to if I could, and I try to, but when I can, but yeah.
So you talked about from a standpoint of being personal. I think one of the columns you wrote, one of the last columns you wrote for CBS Sports was around the Adrian Peterson story, and I think a lot of people talked about, well, is it abuse, not abuse, and that was sort of this big national debate. But I thought what was interesting is you wrote an apology to your son as part of that article, and so and there's also these studies now talking about the dangers that people are afraid to share their opinions on social media for fear of backlash, but you aren't.
Well, my theory on anything writing, anything public speaking, tweeting, whatever, social media is you can't go wrong by being honest unless your honesty is that you robbed a bank last night, and that's not probably going to go wrong. But if you're just talking about who you are and what you did and where you came from and what you think, how can it be wrong to tell people exactly why you have that opinion? And I don't have the same job as everybody else. I get it. I'm not, I get to write columns, my opinion, so it's not the same. I'm not apples and oranges with a lot of folks. But if I'm going to say that Adrian Peterson is a horrible human being, or if I'm going to say that whatever I'm going to say, people need to know not only just what do you think, but why do you think that? And so, yeah, the Adrian Peterson thing made me. I've been a spanker my whole life. Well, my kids' whole lives until they got old enough and I couldn't spank anymore. They got bigger than I did. But I thought it was right. My dad spanked me, and I'm not trying to convert anybody. If you spank your kids, that's between you and them. But for me, I thought it was right, and I did some research on spanking for the Peterson column, and saw a whole bunch of stuff that said it damages them psychologically and leaves scars. And there's really, I don't even know how they do studies. I don't know how you study this sort of thing, but there's no really great proof that spanked kids turn out better than unspanked kids. And on the surface, that sounds wrong to me, but look, I don't know what I don't know. All I know is that I apologize to my kids, and yeah, because I know you're supposed to spank only out of love. That's what my dad told me. Spank out of love. Yeah, that's great, Dad. Yeah, my son just spilled grape juice on my brand new carpet. I'm spanking him because I love him right now. I'm not angry. This is love, son. So anyway, I didn't spank out. I spanked out of anger a few times. I spanked out of, you're disobeying me. I spanked out of shock. Like, wait a minute. You're disobeying me? Spank. Anyway, and in hindsight, you can see it. At the moment, you don't see that. When you're doing it, you don't see it. You think you're spanking out of love because you lie to yourself. We all lie to ourselves about everything. Anyway, I told my son, both of them, I'm sorry. And, my older one, he's a freshman at Bowling Green now, and when I apologized to him, he said, yeah, he said, yeah, the Adrian Peterson story has me thinking about it, and you spanked me, and I've been thinking about it. I said, okay, what'd you think about it? And he said, honestly, I thought, he's 19 years old, and he thought this at age 19, so about 3 months ago he thought this. I thought, what gives you the right? So, if I'm going to write about Adrian Peterson, I got to write that. You know, I can't just write some behind this guy moral outrage about whatever's going on. No, I've got a story here too, and column's not about me, but I'm writing it. You want to know what I think and why I think it, that's why.
Well, and I think that's honestly what is probably growing your audience, is that honesty.
Well, they like it.
It's not just the surface stuff.
You know what, and not everybody likes everything, and there are folks, and this really bums me out when it happens, but it happens all the time, is that folks will say, you're a weather vane, you keep shit, you know, I don't know what you think really, because one day you want to spank, and one day you don't, and one day you want this guy to get fired, and the next day you think maybe not, and you know, your opinions can change, you know, and folks don't appreciate sometimes when you're that honest about shifting. They don't appreciate honesty. They see it as a sign of weakness sometimes. Anyway, people will dislike what they dislike. It's not unanimous. You know, folks seem to like the honesty, they do, but there are folks that don't. And so what I do is I pick and choose the folks that I'm going to listen to, and the ones that tell me I'm doing it right, I listen to them. Yeah.
Well, one of the things that I liked that you did at CBS Sports, so I don't know if anybody that followed him before, but he would publish hate mail that people would send you, and then you would respond to it publicly.
And I loved that for 5 years. For 5 years, I loved doing that. And my bosses told me when they hired me, you know, one thing we do, they call it furniture. I don't know if you call it furniture anywhere else. We call it furniture. We have weekly little things we do. One thing is we do a mailbag, and respond to readers' comments. And I said, well, they're going to be mean to me. They don't tell you, they don't write you to say they like you. You know, it's like we don't go to a restaurant and say, I hope I can tip my guy 25% tonight. No, we don't. I hope that guy, you know, gives me bad service so I can tell everybody about it and tip him 4% and then get mad about it. I think we enjoy being angry. Maybe it's just me. But so I know that people that write me are going to write me by and large to tell me how bad I am, and so I'm going to want to tell them how wrong you are. And I said, anyway, can I write meanly back? If they're mean to me, can I give it back to them? Oh, we're going to love that. Do it. So I did that I did it 4 or 5 years. It got to the point where people know me as the hate mail guy. It's like knowing, and there's a bad comparison because I'm not this guy clearly. It's like knowing Ernest Hemingway for the way he does his credits. Like he's written real stuff, you know, but not just his chapter titles. He's written like real stuff. I've written real stuff. No, you're the hate mail guy. Okay. So I would go to the Final Four, and this happened a couple years ago. It might have been here in Indy. No, it was in New Orleans. I met Fred Hoiberg, Iowa State basketball coach. And, you know, Fred, this is Gregg Doyel. Greg was Fred. And Fred goes, Gregg Doyel, yeah. And he goes, honey. He calls his wife over. This is the hate mail guy. That was a low moment for me. Anyway, the last couple of years, I've been shifting and changing and becoming a different person in a lot of ways. And one way is I started to see hate mail as I'm just picking on folks. You know, I used to be proud of myself. Look how I can. You're calling me awful names and wishing me death, and I get that. And look how I'm going to make you look bad now in front of whoever's reading this. I took pride in that, which is stupid because now I realize that it finally dawned on me is that, you know, they're walking into my area of expertise. I don't have many, but I can write a little bit, and I can write angry pretty good, and I can do insults real good, and they can't, you know. And I mean, it's like walking on a baseball field with a guy that throws 90 miles an hour, and then 90-mile-an-hour guy strikes you out. Is Roger Clemens supposed to be proud of himself for striking out me? That's what you're supposed to do, Clemens. You're a pro, and I'm nobody. So anyway, I started getting ashamed of hate mail, and my bosses wouldn't let me stop. Everybody else stopped doing mailbags. My hate mail was so different and weird and sadly popular that everybody else stopped doing it because I'm not going to do a mailbag because Doyle's the only one that anybody reads. And I was like locked into this bad guy. I was like this villain, this professional wrestler villain that might have been real once upon a time, but he wasn't real anymore. And I'm trying to fake it now with like, yeah, well, you know, somebody give me a mean thing, and I'd say, yeah, well, your mother too. I don't even know what else to say anymore. I got nothing else to say. I'm not angry. I'm not mad at you. You're mad at me, and you don't like my opinion. I'm just grateful you're reading me. So, yeah, let's, hate mail.
So
like I got an email today. I got an email today. Ask me a question. I'll be looking this up.
No. So now that you moved to the Star, so this is a good transition.
Although I'm going to screw it up by going right back to something else, but go ahead.
What has been the perception, the reaction, the atmosphere you've been a part of?
That's a great question. I'll answer that in a minute.
Sure.
So I got an email this morning. From a reader. Tom Bohan says, his subject line is moth. Moth question mark. I don't. He goes. So basically, you're just another moth drawn to any flame question mark. Just because you have a man crush on Johnny Manziel doesn't mean we really care about what you write. I wait for the day for the Indy Star to find someone else. Right. Back in the days of hate mail, that guy was getting blown up. But he's a star reader. He's a subscriber, maybe. I don't know. But either way, it doesn't matter. So I wrote back, I don't expect you to care about every column I write. I sure would love that, but it's not reasonable. I'll keep trying, though, to write stuff you'll care about. Thanks for the note, Tom. So bite me, you know. but I didn't say bite me. But anyway, I just think you get more flies with honey than poop, you know. And I'm going to have a lot of poop. I'm going to write a lot of stuff. You know, Tom Crean should be fired, and Trent Richardson sucks. And I'm going to write some stuff that'll scare some of the flies away. But by and large, you want to, you want to be nice. Real quick, I'll get to your question in a minute if I remember it. But Twitter is. Talk about having a lot of power. I don't care how big your following is, it doesn't matter. Twitter that's who you are. And if people don't like you on Twitter, it's your fault. And if people don't like you, or if you sense that you're not getting much reaction, or you sense the reaction's negative, or whatever, that's on you. And I say that because it was on me. I had a 3-year run of Twitter. Well, I was growing an audience, and look, CBS gave me a huge platform. I mean, this wasn't about me growing an audience. This is about CBS giving me a big flamethrower, and I'm just sitting there, you know. And so people come to the flames, you know. It wasn't a me thing. I'm not dumb. Like we'll talk about this in a minute. Remind me to talk about the TV screens. Okay. I'm not dumb. You give me a big platform, I'll get a lot of followers. And you give anybody a big platform, people come. What's his name? Mark Schlereth on ESPN. There was a time a couple years ago where Mark Schlereth's daughter had more Twitter followers than I do, because her dad was on ESPN, and she was tweeting out an occasional. And nothing against her. I'm sure she's quite smart, but just that blew me away. That's the power of ESPN, but that's the power of CBS. Has much less power, but we still have more power than a newspaper in Fishers. Is there a paper in Fishers? I'm not living there, so what do I care? Broad Ripple, though. I might go to Broad Ripple. Anyway, 3 or 4 years ago, maybe 2, it dawned on me, people don't like me. Like it's apparent that, and they're not giving me the benefit of the doubt. If I write something they don't like, no benefit of the doubt given to me. None, not any. And this is my fault. Like, first of all, I have a column so I can write who I am, but on Twitter, I'm pretty active, and if they don't like me, if they don't like what they see on Twitter, then that's me. You know, I mean, 1 million people aren't wrong. Unless 1 million people think we should eat dog, and then 1 million people are wrong. But 1 million people aren't wrong about not liking you, or 5,000, whatever the number is. So if people don't like you, Twitter's your chance to show who you are. And it's very possible who you are is not likable, and it's very possible who I am is not likable. And certainly who I was on Twitter a couple years ago wasn't likable, because I use Twitter as, here's my chance to show everybody what's wrong with everything. And now my younger son, who I still love, but Jackson, he's that kid that something's wrong with everything. You know, he watches. You know, he complains about the cast, the plot, the this, the that, the songs, the food, whatever. I mean, he's smarter than everybody in the room. You know, and I was using Twitter to show everybody that I thought I was smarter than everybody in the room, and you're not, and the room sees it. And so anyway, if your audience isn't growing, if folks don't like you, if folks aren't reacting to you, that's your fault. Try something else. Hopefully you have another side, you know. We all have a lot of sides. Show them the other side of you, the side that people actually like. So I started showing them the side people liked. The side I hope people would like, the emotional, like I like photos of kittens, and I like school teachers, you know, and I've got kids, and there are things I like, and it's not a sign of weakness to show people what you like. It's not a sign of weakness to sit up here and cry in front of you guys. It's not weak at all. What's weak is to be ashamed of stuff like that, and I think folks gravitate towards unabashed, open, honest, not confidence is the wrong word, but just comfort with yourself. If you're openly comfortable with who you are, that's charismatic. That's my experience. That's who I'm drawn to, people that are like, wow, he really likes himself. Anyway, I'm drawn to people that are not awkward. And I think if you're on Twitter and you're kind of trying to fake it or playing a role, people can see through that crap. Mm-hmm. All right, so you asked me about my reaction to here?
Well, now so you're kind of this evolution. Now you're here at the Indy Star, been here a couple months. And you've sort of brought now a national audience that you grew at CBS back to Indianapolis. So
well, they're stuck with me. You know, they're following you, and they don't. I've lost a lot. I don't know my Twitter followers number. I don't know. And I suggest most people don't. You know, you kind of. I guess you want to know if it's trending down or up, because if it's trending down, you're doing it wrong. So you know. By and large, I don't know. I don't want to know, because that number freaks me out. You know, whatever it is, it should be more. That's just how I look at it. I mean, when I was at CBS, whatever it was, it's not big enough. I mean, CBS is a huge platform, and Mark Schlereth's daughter has more than I do. I'm doing something wrong, you know. So I don't want to know.
Well, you need your own salsa or whatever he's got, right?
Does he have a sauce?
Some salsa.
Is that the
Schlereth?
key?
Yeah, something like that, isn't it? Chili, yeah.
Mark Schlereth stinking chili. That's why his daughter has more Twitter followers than me? Man. You know, I do like McGriddles. I actually make one every day at home. I'm a homemade I've cracked the code. I'll share it with you one day. I've cracked it. Mine's better and healthier. But so, what'd you ask?
So now you're here at the Star, a couple months.
Right.
You said you're now writing for somebody.
Yeah.
What's been your reaction to this?
You know, first I'm writing too much. I'm aware of that. I write every single day. And you guys can maybe tell I'm a little emotional right now, and I don't love my son so much that I'm crying that much about spanking him, maybe. I'm crying about that, but I'm under a lot of stress. Personally, just, you know, this change, moving here, trying to sell my house. The good news, I mean, this is good, but I don't even know why I'm saying this, but I got divorced, and that's good. But the stress of it, and the stress of leaving my son behind is hard, my younger son. Anyway, but writing local stuff for folks, people appreciate all I hear is about the last guy. Oh, the last guy, we all know his name. And I like him. I like the last guy. Like him a lot. All I hear, though, is the last guy didn't do it that way. Good or bad. The last guy didn't do it that way, good or bad. And but the good is the last guy didn't go to high school games, and the last guy didn't write about a youth football coach that was dying as he was coaching his final game. The last guy didn't. And there are people that don't want me to write that. They want to read Pacers and Colts all day long. And we've got Pacers and Colts writers that can write for you all day long. And I'll write some, but I'll be damned if I'm going to write just Pacers and Colts. You know, this is a community here. This is not just a couple franchises. Thank you. And folks like that. And so stuff's coming to me now. What's great about it is, and my tip jar is always open, you know, if you're going to email me and give me a story idea, like the story about the coach who coached until he almost died, and then died. I got an email after John Padgett died from just a fan who was there at the game, a parent of a kid who wasn't even playing, but they were in the league. So sent me an email. It was 2 sentences, basically described in 2 sentences, John Padgett dying, coaching as he's dying, and then died 2 days later. Those 2 sentences like that, first of all, these are the best 2 sentences I've ever read. And they're going to be better than any 2 sentences I'm going to write, but that's a story. And that sort of thing happens quite a bit now, and some of the story ideas are not great, you know, but anyway, I've been blown away by Indianapolis folks recognizing that I care about big and small, because nothing's small, and so yeah, that's kind of what I was talking about when I got this job. I wanted to be kind of part of something, and I want people to think I'm part of something, and I'm probably going over the top with it sometimes, you know, because I am an outsider, and I'm not. I refer to Indianapolis as we a lot, and we, and people are telling me you're not we. Well, you know, I live here. I'm we. You know, I'm not as we as you are, but I'm going to get there someday. But yeah, the reaction's been unbelievable, and it's been exactly what I was hoping to see, and it's spurring me to write more. But also, I'm writing too much because, you know, it's like some people, what do you say, medicate themselves with alcohol. Some people medicate themselves with chocolate. I do chocolate, and McGriddles. And then some people medicate themselves with work, and I'm doing it with work right now. And my bosses know this won't keep up, because I'm going to get happy soon. And happy Gregg is lazy Gregg. And he might be living in Fishers. But only if I can't afford downtown.
So at this point, when we open it up for a little Q&A from anybody in the audience that has any questions, anything? Yes.
So, you know, Greg, I think that you and I started our careers in the same little rural armpit of Florida.
Brooksville?
Well, I worked for the Times in Citrus County.
That's worse.
Yeah. So I was curious if you were more of a Farmer John's pancakes guy or a Miss Kitty's Hilltop one.
I like McGriddles. I'm cheap, so what you're describing sounds like boutique level stuff.
Miss Kitty's?
If it's not fast food, it's not for me. Or if I can't make it myself, it's not for me. I'm going to use that question, which had nothing to do with social media, I may add. Absolutely nothing. To answer, you're from Citrus, you deserve it. I want to say something real quick. You guys are going to see it if you tour the building. We've got pillars everywhere. Real pillars, not me, but real pillars. And TV screens on all 4 sides of it. And on 2 sides, it'll be CNN, Fox, whatever. Really interesting. All 4 sides, 2 are Fox, CNN, 2 are analytics. And it's our 10 most read stories at any moment online, at that moment, right now. And so the whole newsroom's walking around looking at it. You know, when you go to get your coffee, go to see somebody, you walk right by it and you see what 10 stories are getting read. And you want to see if your name is on there, you know? And the Star has been, and I don't even know why, well, it doesn't matter. The Star has been so good to me. What I was saying earlier about Twitter followers, and, you know, I got a platform, and, you know, it's people that judge themselves on their Twitter following, it's not about you necessarily, it's about, I mean, it's just by definition, some folks are going to have more than you. Some folks are going to have more than me. It's just by definition what our platforms are. Well, the Star has been so great to me and put my stories in good spots. I mean, and I write every day, but if I write, it's on their homepage. It's oftentimes their homepage lead story. And on the sports page, it's the lead story. And Doyle, and so my stories are always doing well, from what I understand. I'm trying not to look. I don't want to see it. Anyway, I just wanted to drive that point home that it's your audience, whatever it is, whether it's online or on Twitter, your number of friends you have on Facebook, whatever. A lot of it has to do with forces around you, you know. You can't control those forces around you, but all you can control is on a daily basis, you know, this sounds like I'm talking to a bunch of 5th graders, but on a daily basis, all you can do is try your best, you know, and give your best. And on a daily basis, people are reading us, whether it's on social media only or in the newspaper or whatever it is we're doing. And I'll be damned if on a given day you should ever not give your best, you know, because someone's going to see that. That tweet someone's going to see, and some of that story someone's going to see. So you can't control your platform. You can't control what the forces around you give how much wind they put in their sails, but you can control how hard you try daily. And I think the harder you try, good things happen for you. I don't know.
Well, and what I see you doing, though, too, is also using your platform, even though you're on the sports side of the world, you're sharing a lot of content that your colleagues are writing that are not related to sports at all.
Well, I've got a responsibility. We all do. We all have, you know, a rising sea lifts all boats, something like that. Oh, I mean, we all have a responsibility to help each other out. If the Star has a good day, if Tim Swearen's column takes off, you know, if Christine Guerra's news story takes off, whatever, we all win, you know. I mean, we all lose if people aren't reading our website. It doesn't matter if they're reading me, her, you, them. It really doesn't matter who they're reading. If they're reading all of us, any of us, we're all winning. That's what we want. So, and I know that I do have, you know, because the audience I had before, the platform I had before, I came here with you know, I got a lot more clicks on my Twitter feed waiting than, because people will click. So yeah, I mean, I have responsibility to send stuff out, and other people have responsibility to send my stuff out too on occasion. I don't mean that like I'm not really, but we all have responsibility to help everybody out. My thing about Twitter, and I think what helps me grow my audience, what has helped me grow my audience, is make every tweet matter. Like a lot of people use Twitter as kind of their personal diary, and if your personal diary, that particular note is really fascinating, okay, here's my general rule of thumb on tweets, is if I send a tweet out that I don't think will be retweeted by a whole lot of folks, then why am I sending it out at all? Why bother? People are not on Twitter so they can see what I think about that Denver omelet that what's his name had. You know, people are not on Twitter to see that I'm irritated because I just got water splashed on me by outside. People are if your tweet isn't retweetable, then you're doing it wrong, and it doesn't mean it'll get retweeted. But that's the whole point. Your whole point of social media, unless you're arrogant and narcissistic and your whole point is just to be heard, then never mind. I'm not sure why you'd be in part of this group. This group, it's not about being heard. It's about connecting with folks and growing your audience, and then the being heard helps whoever you work for or you. But it's not just about I have a thought, the world needs to hear this. No, it doesn't. But the world needs to hear thoughts that are retweetable and shareable, because that's how more people will see your stuff and think, oh, I'm going to follow that guy. And so next time when you tweet out your colleague's story, or next time you tweet out your story, instead of having 4,000, you might have 4,004. And if 1 in 4 people click on it, then you just gained 1 more click. If you add, so my general theory, and I could be wrong, and Mark Schlett's daughter has more Twitter followers than me, so I probably am doing it wrong, but my general theory is on tweets is that if it's not retweetable, it's not worth doing. And so if a colleague writes a story that I think is really interesting, I'm going to tweet it out and try, you got to try. People just kind of, I'm going to do my due diligence and tweet this out. How about you spend 30 seconds thinking of 4 words that'll make people go, wow, I want to click on that. Retweet a colleague story, and I'll put the words, this was important, or this mattered, or something. And don't give away the whole thing, but say, wow, give readers a reason to want to say, oh, Gregg thought that mattered. Let me click on that too. And that tweet makes me think, oh, there's something to that. So, and also shrinking retweets. Just because someone tweets something and you like it, and they use all 140 characters, or maybe they use 115, and your retweet is going to take up the other 25, and now there's not any room to add to it. Well, shorten their tweet if it's fat, and add 2 or 3 words. The whole point is to get that thing clicked, and then the whole point then is that if it gets clicked enough and shared enough, then some of those folks will say, that guy gives good links, so I'm going to start following him. The whole point is growing your audience. If every tweet you send is not designed to grow your audience tomorrow, you're doing it wrong. Right on.
Randy.
Thanks for sharing you have an open suggestion box. How else do you uncover, seek out, and recognize ideas? For example, last Sunday's front page piece on the Usher.
All right, I'm curious. I blurt. I'm curious. I see this 6'6" black dude working at a Pacers game, and think, I bet you played. Simple as that. And had he been a 6'6" white dude, I probably thought the same thing. But I see a 6'6" black dude, and I think, I bet you played. Did you play? Well, yeah, he talks like this because he had, well, as a matter of fact, there's a story there. So, there's no dumb questions. There's no, people get embarrassed. I asked Chuck Pagano a question yesterday at Colts press conference. Why is Trent Richardson getting the ball? That's a dumb question, I guess, but you don't know what he's going to say. Anyway, I'm not afraid to ask dumb questions. And I'm not afraid to get blown up, and I'm not afraid to get ignored. I'm not afraid for it to strike out. It's okay. You move on to the next one. So that was curiosity. Here's another one I'm working on. This is mine. This one's mine. In fact, I'm not even going to tell you where it is, but this one's mine. I'm driving down the road, and I see a sign about a building. Yeah, I'm going to be very vague about this, but this one's mine. You can't have it. Saw a sign on a building offering a service. And for some reason, and it has a very, very small sports connection, very small, the building's old. I thought, I don't know, who's going to use that service, and what is in that building, and what's that building's history? So I pulled over, and I'm looking in the building, looking in the windows, and I'll be damned, that's interesting to me, what I see in there. And done some research here just a little bit on the address, and that building's 112 years old, and there's some history there. And I'm fresh to Indy, and so I have an advantage, actually, in that I see this whole city with eyes no one else has seen. First of all, my eyes are mine, and yours are yours, and yours are yours, but yours are yours. Mine are mine, and no one has my viewpoint. No one has your viewpoint. But I'm fresh, and so I'm seeing the city for the first time, and things that everybody else walks by and just steps right over. To me, I'm like, what is that there, and why is it? Look at that shiny thing. It's all new to me. So I'm concerned that in about 5 years or 5 months, when I don't have fresh eyes anymore, am I still going to be intrigued by that? Look, it's shiny. I don't know. Hopefully I am. So anyway, that's where that came from. Just being curious. Just being curious. And it's okay if your curiosity doesn't get met with a good story. I go to Colts camp all the time or anywhere. I want to look into this story. I go to camps or to games or whatever with hopefully a home run idea in my head. This is a home run. But if you've watched Adam Dunn or Dave Kingman or somebody like that, a home run hitter, they strike out all the time, and that's okay. You're going to strike out more than you hit home runs. The greatest sluggers, Reggie Jackson, I hit 564 home runs. It's weird, the numbers I know. I don't know what I had for breakfast yesterday because it wasn't a McGriddle, but I know Reggie Jackson at 564, and he struck out about 1,600 times, 1,800 times. Anyway, you strike out more than you hit home runs, but if you don't swing hard, you're never going to go deep,
That's quotable.
Put that on a coffee mug. Yeah, that's a coffee mug quote right there.
Good.
First off, thanks for covering the little things like that. I think
little things matter. Little things are more important than big things.
Or the things that nobody's ever talked about, like Gene Katie's comb over. For crying out loud, that was a great story.
Yeah, but it was great. It was great because because he played along. I mean, it was a good idea, but it was great that he knew what I was calling about and accepted it, and then was great, and his wife was unbelievable. I literally had to hang up on her. She kept making fun of it. The way I ended that column was she was making fun of it, and I said, okay, I got it. She was making fun of it some more, and I said, okay, I got it. She made fun of it some more, and trailed off. I think I may have hung up on her. She wouldn't stop making fun of his comb over.
But then the spoiler on that was so remarkable. So
you know what? They were mad at first. They thought that the spoiler meaning that by taking the comb over off, they found the cancer.
Yeah.
They were mad I wrote that. They thought I shouldn't have written that, and they were afraid that Katie was going to get fired from St. John's. He's going to get fired because they think he's a health risk. And first of all, I wrote him. No, he's not. He's safe as he can possibly be now. Yeah. And then I wrote, but if you find any flack, this is me being all big and bad. I said, but if you get any flack from St. John's, you let me know and I'll bring hell with me. I mean, you can't fire Jim Katie for that. Well, about 2 days later, Katie's wife wrote me back and said, I'm sorry, I was wrong. All we're hearing from people is what awareness you've raised, and not me, but what awareness that Katie did by letting people know about the cancer. And so anyway, yeah, the kicker was, not the kicker, but yeah, the spoiler was incredible. Yeah.
And personally, the little things too is that I was part of the relay, the Monon Bell relay that we did for ALS. And
oh yeah.
Thanks for shouting out.
Oh wow.
Really appreciate it.
You guys raised a lot of money for that.
Yeah.
I'm gonna. I don't believe in doing nice things for attention. But I was having this discussion last night with one of my best friend in town, who I've just met recently, about if you do nice things, and you don't ever tell anybody anything. And we all do nice things. And you don't ever tell anybody, you're missing the chance to inspire folks, And so maybe there's got to be a line between putting out a press release that, hey, I do nice stuff, and keeping it utterly to yourself. There's a line there. Well, ALS, my best friend here in town, one of my best friends here in town has ALS, and she's dying. And I spent some time with her last night, in fact, Maureen. And I'm going to write about her. And when I write about her, it's going to break my heart. But anyway, ALS matters. Diseases matter. They need to be stopped. And I was volunteering in Cincinnati at the ALS thing and did some volunteering here in Indy. I'm going to get involved with that here as soon as I can. Maybe you can help me with that. Sure. Help me find a way. But I'm only saying that. I'm not saying that so people look at me, so you guys look at me and say, wow, look at that nice guy. No, I mean, that's the minimum. That's the minimum. I mean, I don't even do the minimum. Nobody does enough. None of us do, probably. You might. But anyway, I'm just saying that out loud. So maybe if one person in this room walks out here and says, I'm going to go see if the Cancer Society needs someone to help answering phones, whatever. If one person walks out here and does something nice for somebody that they weren't going to do because I said that I volunteered with ALS, then that helped.
It was interesting just because I could tell through a couple series of just a few tweets, reading between the lines, that there was a connection there. There was
yeah, and my first connection was Steve Gleason. I was blown away by what it was doing to him, and actually a friend of mine on the radio in another state said, my sister just got diagnosed with ALS. He knew it mattered to me, and I said, where does she live? He said, Indianapolis. I was in Cincinnati. I said, well, give me her address, and I drove over. Yeah. All right, social media.
I have a question. I know the answer to it because I've talked to you. But one of the things that kind of shocked me, when you first came here, was that you seemed to respond to everyone on Twitter, on the comments on the stories, and I think that that's where we should be heading. What's your method for that? Do you ever stop?
Well, I can't respond to everybody if there's a whole lot of comments. I can't respond to everybody. When I get so many comments on Twitter about, like, the Cleveland Harp story, I mean, his story was great. I mean, his story was unbelievable. And I just, he told it to me and I got the hell out of the way. And here comes his story. His story was great. And I got some responses to that, and there have been a few of those, that people really like the nice ones. That when I can't respond to everybody. So I'll just send a general tweet. One of those times where, like, here's my Belgian waffle that I had, but no one's going to retweet this. But guys, the reaction to that story is blowing me away. Thank you, because I can't thank 140 people. Or however, it happens. But people like people. They don't like. I think people like people, and I think people don't like robots and don't like people with an arrogant attitude. I want to say that people like people, and not we're above you. If someone's going to write me a tweet, Amy, or send me an email about a story, or a comment on a story, and I think it's really nice, at the very least I'm going to like it, the Facebook like. I'm going to like it. because I want them to know that I got it. I saw it, I'm listening, I hear you. You know, that's the whole point of the marketplace we're in now is it's not a one-way conversation. I'm not talking at you anymore. I'm not going, hey, San Diego, can you hear me today? No, you know, Indy's me and I'm you, and if you're talking to me, I'm talking back. And I just think the idea that we're here to write what we write or say what we say and get accolades or not accolades and just move on like it never happened. Like if I'm walking down the street and someone says hi to me, I'm not going to not say hi back. Social media, to me, the online, it's the same thing. If you talk to me, and that's why I like the Midwest, because in New York, they don't say hi back. You know, I went to the University of Florida, and Florida's, you know, people might know it's not really the South, it's the North. And I'm from the South, Mississippi and then Georgia, and so I'm walking around campus. I remember after about 6 months, sitting around the dorm room with my friends, and one of them said to me, why do you, and they called me Macon because I'm from Macon, Georgia. They called me Macon, so I liked it so much I named my son Macon. So I'm not so arrogant that I'm going to name him Gregg Jr., but I'm going to name him Macon. I named him Macon. He's the one I like a lot. He's the one that said, how dare you spank me. Don't go there again, Greg. At Florida, someone asked me, why do you say hi to everybody when you walk by? Why are you always saying hi to folks? Because that's what you do where I'm from. If you lock eyes with somebody, you say hi, you say hi, you know, but anyway, that's why I say hi to people online. They're saying hi to me first, hi. And not just a LOL, not an empty little, like this doesn't matter to me at all, LOL, or SMH or whatever. You know, if I'm actually care enough to say something to you, I'm going to make you realize that, like, I know your name and thank you, and that meant something. Or Tom, you don't like my story, and you're not going to like them all, and off the record, bite me.
First off, there's a question here. I've been reading you for 7, 8 years, read you at CBS. Did a podcast with the other guy, the guy before you.
The real talented guy.
Well, he's super talented, actually, but and I know you're not saying anything else, but, and we both said, when we were talking to each other, I don't remember if it was on the podcast, the IndyPodcast.com, look it up. Matt Tolley, listen to Matt Tolley's, the one we do. I think that's the best thing I've heard about explaining.
Is there security here?
Okay, that was my promotion. Here's the point. We both thought you were the guy that should come in here.
Before they...
Uh-huh.
Okay, real quick. I heard Kravitz, the other guy, the very talented guy, was leaving. It was on Twitter or something. My first thought was, I hope they call me. And within an hour, I had an email from Ronnie Ramos, who's the managing editor here, just saying, hey, would you give me a call sometime? Like, I know what he wants. So yeah, I wanted this job the first moment. I didn't tell Jeff Taylor when we were talking salary. Jeff, I'm not sure I want to, I don't know. No, actually, during the interview, he offered me the job the day I interviewed. He wasn't supposed to, I don't think. I'm not sure, but he did. And I'm about to start crying because that was a special. Yeah, he gave me a little pep talk, and then he said, here's what we want, here's what we want, here's what we want, and now what we want is for you to say yes. And I think I jumped up and hugged him. Bargaining 101. Okay.
Well, no, and this is why I listen to my podcast. One question can bring emotion in my podcast. That's what it was, a joke. Right. What I'm trying to tell you, though, is that you were a flamethrower. That's why I read you at CBS, and you did a few stories like what you've done here. But you come out of the gate here like you're Rick Riley or Frank DeFord more. And did you do that thinking when you came here?
Oh, yeah. Okay,
this is my place where I can do that versus at CBS where this is big tent and everyone's I've got to reach a national level.
Well, I look back at what I was at CBS and what I was doing, and you can see it after the fact. You can't see it when you're doing it. But I was the naked Wimbledon streaker trying to get attention, and it worked. I was good at it. Oh yeah, nobody wants to see that, but it worked. But anyway, people don't like that. People in that city don't like it. So if I'm saying Tim Floyd is a horrible human being, should be fired. In LA, they just wrote me off if he's at USC. Everybody else likes it. Yeah, he's their guy. He's horrible. I like you. I was building followers based on, it was like hate follows. I mean, they liked it when I was writing because I was hating somebody else. And that's no way to sustain an audience, A, because eventually I'm going to hate your team too. And I would tell people that, listen, if I wrote the same thing about your school and I might next week, are you still going to tell me how great I am? And the answer to that is absolutely not. Which is why I don't really take much criticism seriously, because fans, readers, they love what they love, and they love it when you go after somebody else, but if you go after their guy, all of a sudden you're dead wrong. Like if I was right every other time, I'm not wrong today because Tom Crean's in my target. You know, I'm not. If I was right before, I'm right now. But I have been critical of some folks, Crean, Reggie Wayne, Richardson, and I'll do some more. But I know that, again, this is a community here, and I'm going to be here a long time. And I can't afford to lose folks, and not just for business purposes, although that matters. But I want folks to like me, and to know that I'm not just, you open the paper to read bad news from me. That wears on you. And so, but also I'm in a happier spot than I was. I know it didn't seem like it, but I'm getting there. But like the angry stuff doesn't. I used to write whatever grabbed me, and it just turned out stuff that made me angry grabbed me. Now stuff I love grabs me. Goosebump stuff grabs me. But it was a conscious effort. Although it takes no effort, but it was a conscious decision that I'm going to write more nice than harsh, because people like nice and harsh, and I only have one shot at first impression. I only got one shot at it, and I'm still in the middle of it right now. I've only got one shot at this. That's one reason why I'm also writing so much, is I only got one shot for people to think I care. Only one. This is it. This is my shot right now. 3 years from now, I can have the greatest 2 weeks in journalism history 3 weeks from now, and it won't matter nearly as much as just a pretty good month right now, because right now is what people are noticing. And anyway, so that was a conscious effort, but it was easy.
So we've hit 9 o'clock.
Oh, damn.
So I know that if people need to go, please feel free. You said you can stick around a little bit longer.
I can if anybody wants. Yeah.
Okay.
Absolutely.
So I mean, I know people.
But I know also there's a tour planned, right, Amy? I don't want to step on your toes.
She's a past speaker, so she's good. So yeah, I know if people need to leave, feel free to go. But he's able to stick around if there's any other questions, comments.
And if there's no questions, that's fine too. There's a tour coming.
Yeah.
So I have questions. The personal turmoil aside, over here. The personal turmoil aside of moving here and incorporating your family and whatnot, have you found that moving from the hate mail guy to shiny things has made you happier as a writer?
I guess it's kind of hard to figure out the chicken or egg which came first, but all I know is I'm totally feeling journalistically alive like I haven't felt in a long time, and I think part of that is I really enjoy the stories I'm kind of looking into, and I'm loving the reaction I'm getting from folks that appreciate it, and I just like days off don't matter to me right now, because there's nothing I can do on a day off that's going to be more fun than what I'm doing for this job. So yeah, I am in a bunch, I'm just emotional and stressed out, but yeah, the stories I'm doing, I mean, it feels good to write about Cleveland Harp and to see him get some attention, it feels, and for him to tell me thank you. When I tell folks when I'm going to do when I know the story's nice, I know there's a nice story. I'm calling you because this is going to be good, or the widow of John Paget, like this. I tell folks that because sometimes they're not sure, they're leery and I tell them, most things I'm writing just kind of, my audience is the general audience. My audience, I hope people like it. But if this story, like Cleveland Harp or the John Paget story, this story, my audience, I got one person that matters, and it's you. And if you like the story, then I've done my job well. And if you don't like the story, then I've absolutely failed. And I don't plan to fail, is what I tell them. And so, and then when they like it, boy, you're cloud nine, I mean, it's one person at a time, you make them feel good about something. It's cloud nine.
Yes.
First a comment and then a question. My name is Jennifer Springer.
Hi.
You wrote about my son on Saturday.
Chaz. I'm so happy for you. Ohio State, right?
Yeah.
Is he going to go?
I hope so.
It didn't come with a check in it.
What a great kid. Her kid, real quick, her kid plays for Ben Davis. They played Carmel. Ben Davis has the best recruit in the state, going to Notre Dame. And that kid had a great game. And her kid is, I tower over her son. Her son's small compared to me. But he had arguably the biggest play, if not the biggest, second biggest play of the whole game. And he's good. I mean, he's good. He's had a good year. It wasn't a fluke. But he's not going to college to play football. Never, not with his, just like I couldn't go to college to play football. Physically, it's not going to happen for him. But I wanted to write about the big and small and just recruit-wise, famous and unfamous. And so I wrote about the 2 recruits, and my game story column was about those 2. So I got to spend some time with their son, and Chaz. And apparently he's like a 4.0 student or something, and just a great young man and respectful to me, and I mean, just great. And anyway, I heard from a lot of his family members on Twitter, and that's why, you asked that question earlier. I mean, stuff like that, you don't think that's going to happen. You don't think, oh, his mom's going to see this and thank me for it. You don't think that's going to happen. You just write it because it's a good story. But his mom and relatives, and anyway, I wrote that he's got a scholarship. He's been accepted in Indiana. He's applied to Ohio State. And the people of Columbus know what they're doing, he'll be accepted there too. It's just a little throwaway line in my story. And a couple days later, they got the package in the mail. It was already in the mail. I didn't do it. It was already in the mail, I know. But I wish it had been 2 weeks later. Then I could have thought I did that. But she let me, like the story ran Sunday, she let me to Tuesday. Chaz got his acceptance letter to Ohio State today. Like, damn it, that means I didn't do that. But anyway, so that's her son.
So here's my question. I mean, again, you're new in town. I mean, and I should say, I'm in marketing and PR. I'm not stalking you.
Were you going to be here anyway?
Well, I've come.
Oh, you have? Oh, you have come before?
Yeah, I've come before.
So I didn't do that either.
When you go into a situation like that, I mean, and you feel the pressure going in thinking, I gotta write a story, I gotta send it to, I mean, how do you relax and say, let those stories come to you?
You know what? I talk to a lot of young writers, terrified journalism teachers are everywhere, but a lot of young writers, they reach out to you, so I counsel, advise, whatever, a lot of them on email and phone too, and I tell them, it's hard now, it gets easier, so in a nutshell, real quick, right now, immerse yourself in that story, know as much as you can about that story, facts, and some fact will jump out at you. And whatever that fact is, that's what you should write about, because if you're interested, that's your story. If it interests you, the best you will come out when you write it. But you can't know what interests you unless you know everything you can possibly know about that story. So people are going to write about Abraham Lincoln. If all you know that 16th president, Civil War, got shot by John Wilkes Booth, well, guess what? The whole world knows that. Find out more stuff about him and find out something that fascinates you, like he had wooden teeth or whatever, or something, and then that's your story. But anyway, I've been doing this for so long, it's easy now. It's like to use a golfer analogy. Like if I'm gonna go play golf, I'm gonna stand over that damn ball and just waggle forever. Like I don't know what to do, and then I'm gonna shank it. But a pro golfer, will just walk up to it and roll out of bed and hit the ball down the middle, because this is what they do. So for me, it's easy because I'm relaxed. I've been doing it a long time. But you've got to get your brain going in that direction sometimes. I was at the Indiana-Purdue game on Saturday. Midway through the third quarter, I'm telling myself, this game stinks. And I don't know what to write about this crappy game. And I didn't come here to write a crappy story, but this game stinks. And it's cold, and no one's here. And I'm watching the crowd, I'm looking around like, nobody's here. Nobody's here. I'll be damned, nobody's here. And look at that bleachers up there. There's one person up there. Why are they here? Shiny object up there. So it occurred to me, I can't write about this game. Game stinks, but I can write about the fact that no one's here for this rivalry game. And I go up in the bleachers and talk to those people. Why are you here? And got some interesting stuff from them. I didn't get great stuff, but it was good enough. I thought the idea was good enough that if I just get anything at all, it'll work. And I got better than anything. I got pretty good stuff. Anyway, as I'm up there talking to these folks, as luck would have it, the game got good on me. And part of me is upset, like, oh no, now I've got to write about this crappy game, and I can't write about the people up there. But then I figured a way to get it all together. But anyway, sometimes you got to get your brain going in a different direction. And the Chaz Stringer, and the Chaz story, and the Notre Dame kid. Like I know your son's name, the Notre Dame recruit. I forget his name. So you know who's important in that story, your kid. But so sometimes you got to think outside the box and force yourself to go outside the box a little bit. But again, at my age and experience level, I'm relaxed enough over that golf ball that I'm going to hit it somewhere. It might not be pin high, but it's going to be near the flag.
Any other questions? Yes?
Very obvious that you take people very seriously. How do you handle situations like you're just thinking about, a couple guys who are on the Colts who maybe aren't having the best year. One's had a lot of great years. One really hasn't had a good year yet. But you still got to deal with them on a consistent basis. How do you handle the interpersonal relationship with that?
You show up. I was at camp yesterday. I wrote about Reggie Wayne after a game 2 weeks ago. And I didn't see him again for a week, but I saw him, there was a game Sunday, and I walked up to the locker room Sunday and said, because he referred to my story and criticism, but it's mainly my story, as toilet material, I think. Didn't name him by name, which is fine, but I think I know what he's talking about. So I walked up to him in the locker room, got alone, and said, "Hey, Reggie, I'm Gregg Doyel. I'm the guy that wrote the toilet material." And I said, if you're upset about it, you want to say something, you want to ream me out or whatever, I said what I had to say. If you want to say what you want, here I am. He goes, "No, it's all good." Okay. So whether it's all good or not, I did what I can do. Trent Richardson, I was there at camp yesterday, and he had a little press conference, and I didn't introduce myself to him. There's 30 of us around him, but I made sure I was right in front of him, just stand there. I'm not writing about you, but I'm here, and if you want to start bitching about me, I'm here. It's fair. It's fair. So you have to be accountable. Really, is how I do it. Otherwise, I can't worry about if they're going to like me or not. I just can't. You can't. I mean, you can be paralyzed by that, and it'll affect what you choose going forward. Like Pagano yesterday, he and I had that little thing. I asked him a bad question or a dumb question. And he gave me a dumb answer, and so I kind of gave him a dumb fallback answer, like, well, why? And he repeated his dumb answer and looked at me like, "You're dead to me." and this is a guy, and I might be, but what you can't do in my job, what you can't do is worry about, and maybe I should worry about it, but I can't worry about folks holding it against me that I truly meant something, and I'm going to write it. If they're going to hold that against me, well, guess what? I'm going to be here 20 years and you're not. Really, you can't build your career around fleeting moments. Build your career around who you want to be in life. And I'm going to be this guy for 20 years. And Chuck might be the coach 20 years. I like him. That wasn't a shot at, like, get out of here. I'm just, the point is, I don't worry about it. Give him a shot to let me know I'm a jerk. That's fine. And I'm not going to argue with you. You think I'm a jerk? I'll listen to you. But otherwise, I can't worry about it.
Any other questions? No? Well, thank you, sir.
Thank you.
For your time.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's been a great session.
Thank you. Thank you for coming. Thank you for coming. Thank you.
Amy has generously offered to give anybody a tour of the new newsroom, see the building. Maybe like 5 minutes, just meet out here by the doors if you're interested. Hope you can stick around. Everybody have a great holiday. We'll be in touch next year. Thanks.